A focused beam of sound is aimed deep into the brain, not into the cortex, but into an ancient hub linked to mood and motivation. The lights go down, a timer starts, and then, unexpectedly, waves of bliss rise up, not from thought, but from below thought. So mood isn't only written by the cortex, it can be pushed up from the subcortical engines, and training determines whether that signal gets through. For example, have you ever noticed that you can just wake up in a bad mood before you even thought a single thought? That's because mood isn't just written by the thinking brain, the cortex. Deeper in your brain, you've got subcortical engines, the amygdala, hypothalamus, even the brainstem. These are like raw signal generators. They're constantly pushing up energy. Fear, curiosity, hunger, desire. It's not language. It's not reasoning. It's raw code. Now the cortex, your higher brain, it's the interpreter. It decides whether those signals break through and turn into a full-blown moods and stories. Here's the key. Training determines what makes it through. If you trained your mind with mindfulness, breathing, or reframing, you can feel an anxious spike, but stop it before it hijacks your day. If you haven't trained, the same spike floods the cortex, and suddenly your thoughts spiral. So mood is bottom up and top down. The subcortical engines push raw impulses up. The cortex chooses how to render them. Think of it just like living in the simulation. The lower brain streams the raw code. The cortex is the graphics card that renders it into reality. And your training? That's the filter that decides whether the code becomes chaos or calm. That's why nervous system training isn't optional. It's the difference between moods running you or you running the code. In a Santa Monica neuroscience lab, researchers used low-intensity focused ultrasound to stimulate the caudate nucleus, a deep structure implicated in motivation and affect. The result was striking. Subjects reported spontaneous gratitude, buoyant mood, and clarity, but the effect wasn't equal for everyone. Advanced meditators responded more strongly and more consistently. Why? Nico Regenta's team proposed a simple mechanism: gating. The cortex is a powerful filter. It suppresses most incoming signals, especially slow, visceral currents coming from the body. Meditation teaches the cortex to relax that gate, so bottom-up signals from deep brain and body propagate further and shape conscious state. To test in depth a more natural setting, the team ran darkness cave retreats in Oregon. No light, no clocks, minimal external stimulation. They measured EEG the usual way, alpha, theta, gamma, and then they added a rarely tracked feature. This is called the heartbeat-evoked potential, a tiny time-locked brain response to each heartbeat. As expert meditators went deeper, the heart-evoked potential amplitude and synchrony increased more reliably than classic band power metrics. Depth wasn't just more alpha, it was stronger brain entrainment in the heartbeat. This points to the fact that depth is interceptive. The signal that best predicts profound meditative absorption is the brain's response to the heart, so training upgrades the bandwidth. With practice, meditators reduce top-down prediction and suppress, allowing visceral rhythms, heartbeat, breath, gut, to rewrite cortical activity in real time. This explains why the same ultrasound dose yields different outcomes. Untrained cortex has a tight gate. A trained cortex equals an open gate. So any neuromodulation, ultrasound, light, neural feedback, lands deeper when the gate is open. So if meditation reveals that body signals can sculpt mind, Michael Levin's work shows the reverse. Mind, like goal pursuit, sculpts bodies, even without a nervous system. How about the tadpole-faced Picasso trials? They scrambled eyes and mouths. The system still navigates towards a normal frog face via novel paths. How about regenerating axolotl limbs? Growth stops not when chemicals run out, but when a target shape is reached. And two-headed planaria? Tweak bioelectricity pattern memory, and the worm rebuilds with two heads indefinitely, even without changing DNA. And how about those xenobots and anthrobots? Cells liberated from their native tissue form modal collectives that invent locomotion, foraging, and in anthrobots even assist neural repair in vitro. No new genes added. The same hardware explores new attractors. So in Levin's thesis, biology navigates latent spaces of anatomy, physiology, and behavior, guided by goal-like set points stored not only in genes, but in bioelectric networks. Intelligent, then, is a continuum. Molecules, cells, tissues, body, swarms. Each level pursues patterns appropriate to its scale. Cells act like agents. They don't merely follow instructions. They solve for target patterns using feedback, error minimization, and novel means, the hallmarks of cognition. And memory can be anatomical. Tissues store morphological set points in bioelectric circuits, rewritable body maps that persist across regeneration. If tissues store goals above the gene, what's happening below the gene, inside the machinery that rewrites the DNA? Physicist-physician Anita Gaul studies DNA polymerases and kin molecular motors that copy, repair, and edit genetic code. Two clues stand out. These motors can approach 99.99% energy conversion as they turn chemical fuel, ATP, into directed mechanical steps along DNA. Study estimates suggest enormous internal computation per base read, far more simple than look, match, move would imply. So what Gaul is trying to say? What if these nanomachines leverage non-trivial quantum effects, superposition, coherence, maybe even quantum search, to keep speed and accuracy so high? And her litmus test is bold. Design the biological analog of the double-slit, interference experiment that would force us to admit life's core machinery is quantum active on functional timescales. She argues it might be plausible. Some decoherence modes of the DNA polymerase complex may last longer than the milliseconds base read requires, long enough for coherence to influence outcome. If so, the keyboard under Levin's living agents is a quantum keyboard. So genes aren't just text, they're process. If the read-write itself is quantum tuned, information becomes a physical dynamic field. Now, let's fit the pieces together. Nico shows that interceptive rhythms, like your heartbeat, can train cortex as depth increases and training determines the gain. Levin shows that tissues store and pursue goals, body-level set points above genes. Joel suggests gene reading machinery could be quantum sensitive, where information is a first-class physical quantity. Together, they sketch a single arc. Life equals information flow across scales. The cortex isn't the command center. It's a negotiator. The body isn't cargo. It's a rhythmic driver. Genes aren't blueprints. They're scores played by quantum-grade instruments. And morphogenesis isn't execution. It's navigation through a latent possibility space towards stable attractors, what we call forms, functions, and selves. So the simulation isn't somewhere else. It's what biologically already runs. Goal-seeking code written in bioelectric circuits, executed by quantum-tuned nanomachines, shaped by introspective rhythms that rise into experience. If this is right, practice is not a placebo. It's infrastructure. Meditation reduces the top-down suppression, raising HEP and letting bottom-up signals repattern cortex, like breath and heartbeat awareness, strengthens body-to-brain coupling, the channel Nico's team measured, and state before stimulation matters. Any neuromodulation, ultrasound, light, and even talk therapy works better when the gate is open. The protocol becomes open gate, deliver signal, stabilize attractor. So, meeting the tech halfway is literal. You're not just calmer, you're increasing gain on the very pathways that carry therapeutic change. So, in a way, this reframes evolution. Instead of random mutations blindly filtered, think structured exploration. Below, quantum tune readers keeping the code flowing. In the middle, bioelectric maps hold target forms that can be rewritten. Practice and experience tune cortical gates, allowing body rhythms to reauthor conscious state. Selection still sharpens the system, but the search isn't blind when biology itself computes. You're not just in the simulation, you're a co-author, from how your tissues repair, to which brain signals take the stage, to which habit stabilizes traits. So what is DNA? Not only a history file, not only a library of parts, it's an active code running on quantum-sensitive instruments, orchestrated by bioelectric goal maps, and amplified or muted by the gates you train. When the heart thumps and the cortex listens, the cells negotiate and tissues remember. When nanomachines read the score and no one blocks the music, your DNA is a quantum computer writing the simulation. So here's the thing. We've just taken a tour, from ultrasound pucks lighting up the caudate, to frog cells rewriting their own body maps, to DNA polymerases maybe running quantum searches behind the scenes. What does it all mean? It means that the simulation doesn't come from sci-fi backdrop. It's alive in you, right now, in your cells, in your heartbeat, and in the gates of your own attention. Because whether you're meditating in a cave, regenerating a limb, or just trying to make it through Tuesday, remembering you're co-authoring this whole thing. The simulation doesn't just run you. You are writing it.